Well, Bandele Olusegun joins us this morning. He's a financial analyst and the former bank examiner to look at the challenges, the issues about the stalemate with the passage of the 2013 budget. Good morning, and thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, interestingly, I mean, we were talking about it the other day in one of the opening sequence that a history was made when, in 2012, I mean, they brought this budget. It looked as though it was going to be smooth sailing.
Yeah.
But here we are. July 4th, the 2013 budget has not been passed. And you can kind of ask yourself, so history is made either way, but is this situation avoidable from your perspective?
Yeah, really, the situation is avoidable because it's the amendment now, the controversy is on. Because,
amending the budget?
Yeah, the 2013 budget. It was passed in a haste by the National Assembly. You know,
in a haste?
Yeah, it was passed. 2013 was passed. You know, it's the amendment that the executive brought that is causing this controversy. And in the first place, if the 2013 budget was properly done, there wouldn't have been any need for amendment. And this speaks volumes. And the National Assembly are just doing their job. And really, I agree with them that they can't be stampeded into making decisions. Now, in the first place, the 2013 budget, they had a lot of comments that were very, very good comments they made on the budget. First and foremost, they said they found some abandoned projects not included in the 2013 budget. And not only that, they discovered that some projects that were ongoing were classified as new projects. These were very salutary observations. And for them now to be rushed into passing the amendment, and they said the amendment proposal is more than the budget itself. That speaks volumes about the groundwork that was done originally on 2013 budget. So I think they should just be allowed to perform their constitutional role. You know?
What exactly will be their constitutional role? Because let's not forget, you said that the House of the National Assembly passed the budget in a haste.
Yeah.
This budget was submitted in October 10 of 2012. It was passed by the National Assembly in December 2012.
Yeah.
That's a period of almost 3 months, you know, an average. Now, some people will say that the National Assembly, remember that there was a debate as to whether or not they had the powers to touch or, you know, amend the budget as brought in by the executive, because that is what is causing this furore as to whether or not they can bring an amendment or bring a supplementary bill. So what exactly do you think are the powers of the National Assembly?
Yes, just like any other bill, the budget has to be passed into a law. And that's what the National Assembly is meant to do, to check the spending of the federal government. And again, you discover that when you bring an amendment that is more than the original, I mean, you begin to wonder that why in the first place did you bring the original to us, for you to bring all these amendments? And
but the original wasn't sent back to them the way they brought it in. That was where the debate started.
Really, and that's one of the problems I see, even in the budgeting process, that if they use the same basis of data, then there will be less controversy. And if there's transparency, then the controversies will be less. As it is now, I think the basis of assessing the budget figures are different, and that's why you have all these controversies. And they should ask themselves, why don't they have all these type of problems in other countries? The other time I was in Ghana, everything was smooth sailing. The controversies were on issues. In the US, it's always on the national health policy issues. But in Nigeria here, you do not really know exactly what is causing the problem.
Probably, isn't this an issue?
It's a serious issue because the budget is the most serious financial document of the government. And it sets the strategic direction for the whole country. And if they keep on debating on it, it sends wrong signals even to the international community.
Yeah, but if you look at the fact that, I mean, budget was passed, and then the president assented to it, and then you send it back to the National Assembly to amend the same budget, and they ask themselves, look, that process is not even recognized by law. So one wonders, if the budget was not returned to the executive arm of government the way it would have been properly implemented, do you think they should have assented to it in the first place?
That is true. They shouldn't have assented to it in the first place because they prepared the budget and the National Assembly made some adjustments to it. And who takes the responsibility for the execution is the executive. So really, I think they have to fine-tune the process because responsibility is the obligation to act, and accountability is the answer to responsibility. So the executive will be accountable for the implementation of the budget. And you know, this controversy has been on for many, many years, implementation, that they don't implement the budget, so on and so forth. And when you look at it against the background of the fact that Nigeria makes nothing less than 81 billion on the average dollars every year, then you now begin to wonder what is happening. $81 billion can change the destiny of a nation if it is properly done.
Yeah, but the thing is, if they did not assent to the budget, if the executive did not assent to the budget, there would have been a situation there. It would have gotten to the deadline, that 3-month time, and there was that talk at the time that, look, the National Assembly was going to veto it, and that would have been a precedent.
Yeah.
And so, either way, there was a situation.
Yeah, there was a situation. And I think they have to sit down together and use the same basis of data to make the budget.
Should we change our process of budgeting?
Yes, really. A budget drawn up without data is not a budget. It's a guesswork. It's an intuition. And for years, it's an annual ritual. You know, people just say, oh, they will read the budget, and nobody takes it into cognizance. But really, a budget is a very serious document that everybody should look at all over. You know, but in Nigeria, yeah, they say it's a ritual. Oh, it's just for them, and so on and so forth. And by the time you see...
Why do you say our budget, sorry to interrupt you there, but why do you say our budget is drawn up without data? Because from what we gather, there is some data involved. I mean, they definitely know what has been happening, what the statistics are, and usually the ministries, departments, and agencies, which through the budgeting system are now operating an envelope system, you know, budget based on information available to them.
Yeah, you see, if the budget in the first place is drawn up with the necessary data, these controversies will reduce. Because certainly, if you present your data to the National Assembly, they should be able to logically think through it. But again, you discover that the government does not apply analytics to the budget. And that is why you see people complaining that they don't feel the impact of the government.
Do you think it's more, sorry to cut you again, but do you think it's more about data, or that sometimes, you know, the oversight functions of the National Assembly have not been properly exercised? For instance, if you take a look at what the Senate itself was saying, the Senate was saying something about some monies that were cut for capital projects have been recurring year after year, and it would seem that there is no significant they cannot ascertain the positions of this particular project, which is a very curious situation. So do you think it's more about data, or the fact that there has been lax oversight on the part of the National Assembly?
Really, there are fundamental problems. First and foremost, I expected the Minister of Finance by now to have changed the public accounting system in the country. You know, most countries in the world now are going for the accrual-based accounting system, public finance, for public finance. We are still using the cash-based. And that is why they find it difficult to monitor ongoing projects. If they begin to use the accrual-based accounting system...
What does that mean?
For public finance, yeah.
Yes.
There will be a kind of trend.
What does the accrual-based accounting system mean?
Now, it's a rolling over. You know, when you start a project, you must make sure that you follow it through to the end. You know, but for cash-based, you can just wake up one day and think of an idea and begin to implement it. So, all countries in the world, now most advanced countries in the world, have changed over to the accrual-based accounting system. And we are still using the cash-based system. And that is why you see so much fraud in our budgeting system.
Well, they call it, I don't know if it's cash-based, they call it. They say it's the envelope system, you know. I don't know if they're one and the same thing. But from that particular system, I think all monies budgeted in a year must be spent. If not, they're mopped up. But just yesterday, we understand that the House of Representatives moved to make sure that the monies for, you know, monies unspent in one budget year are rolled over into the next year. Is that what you're talking about?
Part of it, yes. Now, you discover that the House of Reps, actually, I really appreciate some of their comments and contributions. And it's one of the dividends of democracy, because during the military, they just send in anything and nobody checks what they send in for budgetary budget making. But the essence of following up, because we have so many abandoned projects in the country, it's so embarrassing. And you begin to wonder why do you have so many abandoned projects? It's because you wake up and you begin to think of new ideas without completing what you started in the past. And it's so embarrassing. The other day I was traveling between Mokwa and Bida in Niger State, and it's so terrible. The road, so terrible. By the time I was coming back, 18 people had died on that road, and I was wondering, who takes responsibility for all this? Very bad road. And in a country, I think the Federal Executive Council should take a trip around some of these places by road. Kogi and Kwara, terrible. You know, and when you keep on talking of making budget and people don't feel it, it's so annoying.
But what do you see as the way out of this situation that we're in? Because the executive, you heard the minister talk about the fact that, well, they can't pay salaries with the way the budget is structured at the moment. And the National Assembly, well, thinks, well, what else do you want to do? If you can't bring in a supplementary budget, they can't amend the 2013 budget as passed. That's the point where they are at now.
Now, in the first place, there was a 2013 budget. Does it mean there was no provision for salaries? I do not really understand what the minister is really trying to say there. Because there was a 2013 budget that was passed, so there was no provision for salaries.
They believe that the monies for the salaries have been cut, they've been affected.
Affected by the National Assembly.
Exactly.
They cut it.
Yes.
We did, well, I wouldn't know. If that is the case, then I thought, yeah, they reduced the recurrent by 100 billion. I know that in the 2013 budget. But
which in the end has affected salaries.
Okay, is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Well.
All right, let's take a look at this other report, and then we'll go over and join Tijani Yusuf, who is a member of the House of Representatives. But the Senate also talking about matters concerning the budget in this report.